As Africa's leading defence news portal, DefenceWeb aims to give you the latest updates on African defence, the South African National Defence Force and the defence industry. Hi folks, welcome to the past week in defence. In this week's edition, we look at how civil unrest is on the rise globally, crew kidnappings increasing off of West Africa, and the United Kingdom loaning Estonia 4 Jackal vehicles to support counter-terrorism operations in Mali. Elsewhere on the continent, Ethiopia expressed interest in C-295 transports and Airbus helicopters. Cameroon will receive ex-US Island-class patrol boats. 2 pilots have been killed in a Kenya Army MD500 helicopter crash. The Drone Council South Africa launches, and the South African Revenue Service makes 115.6 million rand in a rhino horn bust. In SANDF news, cigarettes and dagga are confiscated and vehicles recovered by border protection patrols. The SANDF says military training is not affected by the coronavirus. A soldier is behind bars after fatal shootings in northern KwaZulu-Natal. The South African Air Force and Paramount launch a robotics program for children. The Africa Aerospace and Defence exhibition postponement means no SA Air Force centenary airshow. And Parliament hears that defence salaries are a critical challenge. In company news, Arms Corps faces a major funding shortfall. Roytech Radar Systems signs a dealership agreement with drone maker DJI, and Cameroon wins another Husky mine detection system contract. In African defence news, global civil unrest is on the rise as every region of the world has experienced hundreds of civil unrest events over the last decade, according to the latest edition of the Global Peace Index report. The Institute for Economics and Peace, in its 2020 report, said a key trend identified in this year's research is the growing level of civil unrest across the world. At least 58% of Global Peace Index countries experienced violent protests in 2019, noticeably in Chile and Hong Kong, as citizens protest a range of issues including economic inequality, police brutality, political leadership, and rising prices for key resources. From 2011 to 2019, the number of riots rose by 282% and general strikes rose by 821%. Europe experienced the most protests, riots, and strikes. However, only 35% of the approximate 1,600 total were recorded as violent, the lowest percentage in the world. Civil unrest in sub-Saharan Africa rose by more than 800% over the last decade, from 32 riots and protests in 2011 to 292 in 2018. The International Maritime Bureau, IMB, has warned that violent attacks against ships and their crews have increased this year, with the Gulf of Guinea becoming increasingly dangerous for commercial shipping, as it accounts for 90% of maritime kidnappings worldwide. The Bureau on 15th of July said that so far this year, 77 seafarers have been taken hostage or kidnapped for ransom since January, according to the latest piracy report. Violence against crews is a growing risk in a workforce already under immense pressure, said IMB Director Michael Howlett. In the Gulf of Guinea, attackers armed with knives and guns now target crews on every type of vessel. Everyone is vulnerable. So far this year, 49 crew have been kidnapped for ransom in the Gulf of Guinea and held captive on land for up to 6 weeks. Rates are accelerating, with 32 crew kidnapped in the past 3 months alone. And incidents are happening further out to sea. 2/3 of the vessels were attacked on the high seas from around 20 to 130 nautical miles off the Gulf of Guinea coastline, the IMB said. Estonian Special Forces deploying to Mali will be loaned 4 Jackal armoured vehicles by the UK Ministry of Defence. UK Minister for the Armed Forces James Hepe confirmed the loan plus a 3-week training package for soldiers of the Estonian Armed Forces. The loan, announced by the UK Ministry of Defence on the 9th of July, will equip Estonian troops as they join the international fight against Islamic terrorism in the Sahel region of Africa. Ethiopia has expressed interest in acquiring 18 helicopters and 2 C-295 transport aircraft from Airbus. Africa Intelligence at the beginning of June reported that France had paused negotiations for the sale of the helicopters and transport aircraft at the beginning of this year. But German diplomats may succeed in putting the project back on the table. Some of the delays are believed to be over the coronavirus pandemic. In November last year, Le Point International published a copy of a letter Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Ali apparently sent to French President Emmanuel Macron, mentioning that in line with the defense cooperation agreement signed earlier that year, the country was seeking to strengthen its armed forces particularly its Air Force. He expressed interest in acquiring aircraft from Airbus as well as other military hardware from France, but it is not clear how this may be funded. Cameroon will be receiving 2 refurbished Ireland-class patrol boats from the United States this year after requesting them under the Excess Defense Articles program. News of the acquisition was revealed by the United States Embassy in Cameroon in January this year, when it said, in 2020, the Cameroonian Navy plans to purchase 210-foot American patrol boats to greater extend its ability to patrol Cameroon's economic exclusion zone. The embassy did not identify the type of vessels, but according to the Excess Defense Articles database, in April 2019, Cameroon requested 2 Island-class patrol boats with mid-life extension, and 2 have been allocated by the program. The vessels were formerly operated by the US Coast Guard. Both pilots were killed when their MD500 helicopter crashed in Kenya on the 13th of July. The Kenyan military said the aircraft was on a training flight at the time. The aircraft is one of 36 MD500s in service with the Kenyan Army. The Kenyan Defence Forces received 40 MD500s between 1980 and 1985, along with 2,100 TOW anti-tank missiles. They took delivery of 6 new MD530 helicopters at the end of June 2019. The Drone Council South Africa has been launched by Department of Communications and Digital Technologies Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrams under the theme Strategic Partnerships to Accelerate a National Drone Industry Growth Strategy. The launch took place during a webinar on the 15th of July. The Council is a platform of affiliation by various established companies and new entrants into the drone industry. Its main objectives are to facilitate growth of the South African drone economy through collaboration, business incubation, industrial sectorial optimization and investment, drone pilot training, and industry transformation, amongst others. Rhino horn worth 115.6 million rand was discovered at OR Tambo International Airport, according to the South African Revenue Service SARS. A total 41 pieces of rhino horn were valued at 115.66 million rand in a consignment declared as fine art on the 14th of July by customs teams aided by detector dogs. SARS said the consignment of 6 bones containing the horns had been concealed in carbon paper and foil and was destined for Kuala-Lumpur. The South African Police Services Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, the Hawks, were alerted of the incident. In addition, a criminal case has been registered with the South African Police Service for further investigation. Meanwhile, SARS customs officials also found abalone valued at close to 1 million rand, destined for Hong Kong, and ephedrine valued at 600,000 rand, which had been hidden in 2 printer cartridges and destined for Madagascar. And in SANDF news, cigarettes make up the majority of recent confiscations by soldiers on border protection duties, with dagga and illegal immigrants adding to the recent success tally, along with the recovery of stolen top-of-the-range 4x4s. Cigarettes, conservatively valued at more than 800,000 rand, were seized by soldiers patrolling South Africa's border with Zimbabwe, the SA National Defence Force said in mid-July. This border has long been used by cigarette smugglers to access particularly the Gauteng market, where cigarettes are sold by spaza shops, and since lockdown and tobacco products ban, street corner and parking lot vendors. Military training programs in the National Defence Force are not affected by the coronavirus pandemic and continue as usual, according to Deputy Defence and Military Veterans Minister Thabang Makwela. He is reported by News 24 as saying when the lockdown components of the national state of disaster was implemented in March, it was decided that SA National Defence Force training programs would continue. The view of the military command was because of their nature, military training centers are in isolated communities and we would allow programs to continue, Makwetla said during a Justice, Crime Prevention and Security cluster briefing on the 15th of July. He added the potential impact of COVID-19 was regularly monitored. A soldier is in police custody in Pongola, KwaZulu-Natal after he allegedly shot and killed 2 civilians. The Joint Operations Division of the SA National Defence Force said the soldier was deployed either on Operation Corona, the National Border Protection Tasking, or Operation Notlela, the military component of the National State of Disaster Response instituted to mitigate the COVID-19 pandemic. The Defence Force said 2 civilians were killed during an altercation at the residence of the soldier's girlfriend. A case of murder was opened by police and the shooting is being investigated. The South African Air Force, Arms Corps and Paramount have teamed up to launch a robotics learning program for children. With learning proving to be a tall order during the lockdown period, it has become apparent that in order to save the 2020 academic year, New ways to stimulate knowledge had to be devised and keep learners going while awaiting the decision to return to the classroom, South African Soldier magazine said in its latest edition. As a result, it was with that in mind that the SA Air Force Spouses Forum, led by Chairperson Africa Imsamang, initiated the Military Family Foundation during the COVID-19 outbreak to assist children of military personnel to be active and not only depend on using virtual systems. The Military Family Foundation teamed up with Arms Corps and Paramount Group to launch the Parabotic Eagles Robotics Club, which will encourage learners to take up science, technology, engineering, and maths. South Africa will not be treated to an exhibition of SA Air Force capabilities and platforms this year as a highlight of its centenary because of COVID-19 and the government's continued national state of disaster to mitigate the pandemic spread. The arrival of the virus in South Africa as far back as February and the subsequent creation of a National Coronavirus Command Council saw cancellation of public events, including the Africa Aerospace and Defence AAD exhibition set for September. The exhibition at Air Force Base Waterkloof was to host a comprehensive display of Air Force platforms from Gripen and Hawk jets through to helicopters, including the South African design and built Falk attack support platform and its transport workhorses. These range from the venerable C-130BZ to the even older C-47TPs that also operate in the maritime patrol and surveillance role, to the smaller C-212 Aviocar Cessna 208 caravans, Beechcraft B-200 Super King Air, and Pilatus PC-12 on the airlift side of the force, as well as the PC-7 trainer. The trainer is also used by the Civil Falcons aerobatic display team based at AFB Lagerbankberg. While welcoming additional funding for the National Defence Force earmarked for COVID-19 related activities, Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Defence and Military Veterans again notes salaries are a critical challenge for the Department of Defence. A Parliamentary Communications Service statement reports that Committee Chair Cyril Klaba reported a 2.8 billion rand increase in Minister Nosiviwe Mapisanga-Kula's defence budget as a special adjustment. The committee notes compensation of employees remains a critical challenge in the department, he said, adding the committee was concerned about a 3 billion rand shortfall, despite an additional 720 million rand National Treasury allocation. Klaba and his committee urged the Department of Defence to engage National Treasury and find ways of avoiding irregular expenditure on employee compensation. And in company news, Arms Corps is faced with a major reduction in funding due to South Africa's reduced defence budget, and this is affecting its ongoing projects, the Portfolio Committee on Defence and Military Veterans has heard. This also results in knock-on effects for the local defence industry. On the 16th of July, Willem Janssen van Rensburg, Joint Standing Committee on Defence researcher, briefed the committee meeting on the revised budgetary outlook for Arms Corps. He told the committee that while Arms Corps does generate its own income, it remains largely reliant on a state allocation, which comes in the form of a transfer from the Department of Defence. As a part of cost-cutting measures across departments in response to the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, the transfer from the Department of Defence to Arms Corps has been decreased by approximately 120 million rand. The original financial planning was set on a transfer of 1.241 billion rand to Arms Corps. This has since been reduced to 1.136 billion rand. Arms Corps will move from a projected net surplus of 700,000 rand for 2020-2021 to a deficit of 243.3 million rand due to the reduction in funding, sales and other income. To save money, Arms Corps is proposed halting salary increases, stopping performance remuneration and reducing operational costs. Arms Corps also warned that the funding situation is affecting its projects, which in turn is affecting the South African defence industry. Reutech Radar Systems has signed a dealership agreement with consumer and industrial drone giants DJI, focused on the enterprise range of industrial products for the South African defence and security domain. Reutech Radar Systems said it is an ideal match to introduce products from the DJI enterprise product range into its well-established defence and security user environments as a complement to radar system applications. The enterprise range of industrial drone products includes the Mavic 2 Enterprise and Enterprise Dual and the Matrice 300 RTK. The Matrice 300 RTK drones may be equipped with high-performance payloads, such as the Zenmuse H20 and H20T series of multifunction optical and thermal sensors. Additionally, Reutech Radar Systems provides DJI's Flight Hub software for drone mission management operations. Cameroon Sensors and Electronic Systems has been awarded a $200 million contract modification from the United States Department of Defense for Husky mine detection vehicle components. The Department of Defense on the 11th of May said it had been awarded Cameroon a $200 million modification to a 2018 contract to develop, integrate, produce, and deliver Husky-mounted detection system kits, spare parts, maintenance, and training. Work will be completed in August 2022. DCD Protector Mobility is building the Husky vehicles for Egypt, Jordan, Latvia, and Saudi Arabia under a US Department of Defense contract in partnership with the United States Critical Solutions International. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our daily and weekly newsletter, and our other social media platforms if you enjoyed the webcast. Leave your comments below. Thank you for watching. Stay safe during the lockdown, and we'll see you next week.